Hey guys, back continuing this video with kind of a little what to buy, not to buy in the vehicle factory. And you know, it's really, a lot of it is really preference based depending on what type of army you use. My recommendations are just the things that I found useful as I was going through the missions and things. So, and it's preference. Some people like specific units and to do certain damage. So by all means, you may like everything I dislike, and that's totally cool. I don't, it doesn't. That's why they offer so many different options so that people can kind of choose what they like or not like. But I left off at the MG turret, and I do want to speak a little bit more on this unit because once you rank these guys up, their hit points don't go up very good. But the one thing that it does do is it also has capability of hit air units. Both of these attacks hit air units that are in the area, but this one only air units. So it's a very cool unit for boss strikes, and its low healing cost is another asset to it because it only costs oil and some money to heal. So pretty good unit for that, and it causes pretty decent damage on the front row, especially if there's just soldier units on the front row. Doesn't do as much to vehicles. It's not going to hold up very well against mega tanks on the front row, but still good good unit to put with wimps if you're just doing wimps and you're battling some air units. The light chemical tank is one of the units that I'm going to highly recommend just because of its it doesn't cost any nanopods. It does cost the chemical vials and 2,000 steel. Well, actually, depending on where your vehicle factory is ranked up to, it may cost a little more than that. But some people mass produce these in the hundreds because they're just good on the whole front line, and they have pretty good armor and defense as well. So that's kind of awesome. And the fact that if you put one on the whole front row, you can hit a lot of places on the board with just those units, as long as the units aren't blocking. It doesn't go through blocking units, but it does do a lot of good damage, and it's fire damage, which is very useful because a lot of units don't have defenses on fire. So two different shots that it offers, and you get to use both of them. So that's a good unit to get. The heavy recon tank is similar to the light chemical tank as far as its damage and usage. The pattern is a little wider, so it spreads out more. Of course, the damage gets weaker as it goes through. This shot right here, the chemical shell, is a good shot because of the fact that it can go over walls and stuff, whereas this shot's not going to go through walls or through mega tanks, where this guy will spill out all in these areas here and can go over walls and things. So not a bad unit to have, and if you have two of these, you can cover almost all the board with just two of those units. The heavier tank is something else that a lot of people mass produce, especially if they're into non-nano units, because when these guys are ranked up to 6, they only have 100 less hit points, total hit points and armor than the mega tank. So not bad. That's not bad, considering that the mega tanks are the highest nano tank available, with 940. So the heavier tank's going to have 840 at its max, which is pretty good. And a lot of people use those kill ancient sentinel and other things as well once they're ranked up to that. So good to have. Also, doesn't cost the laurel and the widget to heal when it's killed. The brute is another one of those units that you can have or you can live without. I like them because of its mass damage that it can do to vehicle units, so it'd probably be pretty good on this upcoming boss strike against mega tanks and vehicle units on the front row. But the downside is that the dumb thing can only hit vehicles and tanks. So it's very limited in its use. So you don't need very many of those. But it has 2 good shots. One that comes a little bit later, that one right there, the white assault, and then the heavy assault, which can pretty much tear up mega tanks with one shot at rank 1 at one shot easily. Frostbite is one of those units that after I bought, I'm like, why did I even get this thing? I have not found a use for them yet. I don't know. Maybe you like them, but I just haven't found much of a use for them. And the Elemental Trooper just is so much better and more versatile than this. I wish they'd give this guy a fire shot. That'd be awesome. Just add a flame shot right there so it could freeze and then flame, and then it would turn that unit into a much better unit. But I didn't make the game, so I can't do that. The Lightning Tank is one of those units that I say you can or cannot live without. If you like units on the second row that can hit most of the board, just like the heavy chemical tank, these guys, 2 of these on the middle row can cover almost every space. I believe it leaves 2 spaces open. So it's a okay unit to have. If you're a collector and you just think you might have a good spot for those, then get some of those. Once they're ranked up, their hit points and armor go up pretty well. So much where you could get away with putting it on the front row depending on what you're fighting. It just depends on what you're fighting. Mega Tank is a highly recommended unit, unless you don't want to spend the nanopods, if you just want to do heavier tanks. But if you're not, I'd recommend getting the Mega Tanks just because of its high armor and hit points that it comes at a low level, and it only goes up from there. Great unit against the Ancient Sentinel, and it's very diverse with this shot right here, which can a lot of times hit 2 units on that back row. There's always some 2 units that are on these back rows, a sniper or something that you're just sick of, and 2 shots with your mega tanks with this shot can kill almost any of those units on the back row in the missions. So I find that shot useful. Of course, it is costly, so you'll probably buy those over time slowly. The Arch Tank mission requires you to build one of those. The heavy Arctic Tank, I've not got one, and I don't see the purpose. They probably would really help out for the other missions in the wastelands, because they have because it's immune to freeze and the cold. So, but now with the legendary mammoths, that's obsolete. The Mammoth Artillery is units high armor. It can be used in the wastelands without getting any damage to it. It does. When you look at it, you're like, wow, that's a pretty amazing 50 times 4 or 100 times 4 in a single spot. The problem is the offense is kind of low, so it doesn't always do very much damage against the unit. The tank killer and other things do so much more damage than this guy, but it does have a high hit points, so it's a pretty strong unit. But I don't use it very often. So Trebuchet is an awesome unit. I'd recommend this for everybody. Non-nano unit. As soon as you get it, start ranking this guy up so you can get its shots available. Get them all, and especially the Raptor shot. That's going to be the best investment. Best 40 nanopods you'll ever spend right there. The Raptor shot. It's amazing. The drill is pretty good armor and hit points. The damage, when you look at the damage, you think, wow, it's amazing as much damage it has, but its offense is puny, so it rarely gets that much damage fighting a unit. Seems to do better against critters than it does other things. So I would recommend getting a couple of those just diversify your army a little bit. The railgun buggy, if you want any railgun units that are non-nano, this is the guy to get. The offense is higher on this guy than the railgun tank, and which means even though it has less damage than the railgun tank, it's going to do more because the offense is higher. But it doesn't have a lot of hit points, so it's going to die pretty quickly. The railgun tank, got 2 of those. Mine are ready for rank 4 now. I'm going to promote them. The offense is okay, but even though the offense is 66, it still misses a lot. I can't get over it. It's like the laser tank. I just can't find a purpose for it. Alright guys, I hope this video has helped you make a decision about what to buy and not to buy in the vehicle factory. Please leave comments below on what you think and what units you think are good or not, man. Alright guys, if there's something that you'd like to see me review or talk about that I haven't, just let me know.